Greetings, everybody! My name is Tommy the Keyblade Master, and oh boy, am I in trouble today. Today I gotta take a look at Kingdom Hearts Recoded Cinematic Cutscenes from the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD Remix. Let's just put it this way. I'd rather watch 358 over 2 days cutscenes and a 6-hour-long marathon over and over again than do this one. Now, back in 2011, I remember feeling how lucky I was to be a Kingdom Hearts fan. A few months earlier, they released Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep for the PSP, and it turned out to be a great game with a great battle system, some really great characters, a fun villain, and then we were going to get a DS game on top of that. It would be a little shorter, but it looked like they were really pushing the DS to its limits, and it would use some of the same battle elements. I bought Recoded, and then 5 hours later I beat it and thought, wow, that's a disappointment. Now, Kingdom Hearts Recoded is not the worst RPG I've ever played. Far from it. It does have its charming parts when it comes to the DS games. It does things like change itself up to a 2D platformer, or even does a run-and-gun segments, and the Hercules Coliseum stage plays like an old-school Final Fantasy game. So it does have its moments of being really fun. But what really nailed that game down as complete crap was its story and exposition. Which Kingdom Hearts Recoded cutscenes here are all story and expositions from that game. They do try to clean it up a little bit, but it still ends up being crap. How crappy? Well, let's ask two of this game's main characters, Sora and Pete. What's your opinion on this game, Sora?
I don't understand.
Alright, Sora seems thoroughly confused about this. Let's talk to Pete. What was your opinion of this video game story after watching it?
What a load of bunk!
Geez, even the characters from this game know it's full of BS. If I had to put my finger on Kingdom Hearts Recoded's problems when it comes to the narrative, I would give you two reasons. Number one, it really pushes the Kingdom Hearts philosophy overboard. And number two, it bogs itself down on technobabble and needless exposition. In fact, Kingdom Hearts Recoded story in a nutshell could be skipped because you've learned most of the information this game gives us in the blank point storyline in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. But let's start at the beginning of this game's story. It starts off with Jiminy looking at the two journals he made from the first two Kingdom Hearts games. One of them is blank because Nominee erased it when they entered Castle Oblivion. However, he finds a message scrawled on one of the journal's pages. Their pain will be mended when you return to end it. And no, folks, this isn't about the pain that this game is going to give you trying to figure it out. But anyways, he gives the journal to Mickey, who decides someone in the journal is in trouble. So they scan the pages of the journal because the data Jiminy entered by writing it down with the pencil is still there and is able to be scanned into a 3D world on a computer. How? Really? This makes no sense. It's kind of been deleted, but the journal worlds are still there. Whatever. Anyways, the process does create bugs in the journal program though, so they decide to have a Sora debug the program by creating an AI version of Sora called Data Sora and giving him the Keyblade to sort out the mess. And it doesn't get any easier to follow from here, as Sora kinda states it.
I don't understand.
Well, Sora, guess what? Neither does the rest of us. And the game keeps on going on with its narrative. Sora has to debug each world as soon as he's done finishing off the blocks and finding the keyhole, which in the actual game led to kind of a mini challenge. Like I said, 2D platforming or a shooter stage or something like that would appear. After that, Sora would be blasted off to the next world, which you do see here in the game story. After he finishes a world, he gets blasted off to the next one to kind of complete a challenge there, which made more sense when you were playing the game than it does here, but whatever. Just know that most of the time these worlds are somewhat enjoyable to listen to, at least while we're on the Disney side, which there's only 3, But still, I liked what they did with Alice in Wonderland, Agrabah, and Hercules. You either have all the original voice actors in the sense of Hercules kind of come back to reprise their roles, or in the case of Aladdin or Alice in Wonderland, you have good sounding knockoffs. But while these stages are enjoyable, it all goes to pot once you hit Hollow Bastion. Once we hit Hollow Bastion, all the exposition and technobabble I've been going on about hits full force. Oh god, you get scenes like this.
No matter what. Donald.
Huh, some friend. He ain't nothing more than an empty shell. The kid doesn't even have a heart.
That's not true. We've all got Sora's heart right here inside us.
And this.
The Keyblade we gave you before was one we created. It was nothing but data. To tell you the truth, I never expected it to have the same kind of power as the real Keyblade. That weapon was just a replica. It didn't have any substance. That's why Maleficent could destroy it so easily. But during your journey, you really made a connection.
Alright, you start seeing the problem with the scene. It just goes on with this non-stop babble and over-exposition to the point where it just becomes mind-numbingly dull. You could have probably shortened that speech in half and had more impact. And, oh, I guess I should catch people up with the plot a little bit. Why are Donald, Mickey, and Goofy there? Well, Maleficent and Pete broke into the program somehow, so the journal decided to take Riku's body from the data and incorporate it as itself to protect itself. Yes, the journal is sentient, don't ask, and managed to suck Mickey, Donald, and Goofy into the program somehow. Hey, don't ask me how this works or how it makes sense. I don't think there's enough booze in the world for someone to drink to fully comprehend this story, and if there is, they probably wouldn't survive the experience. At any rate, that's the whole Hollow Bastion arc. After the Hollow Bastion arc, Riku gets captured, filled with bugs, and Sora must go inside him to debug him because Riku is, quote, the journal in this. So basically, in this part in the game felt a little lazy because you went back to the last few worlds and kind of just did a little mini side portion of them to debug that part and then go back to Riku for a conversation. Here they do show an action scene to show Sora debugging each world. But again, all the going back to talking to Riku does is bring up more philosophizing. And by this time, we're sick of just kind of having the Kingdom Hearts philosophy drilled into our heads for the last 2.5 hours at this point. And then once you get done with Riku, well, you still have to deal with dialogue like this when Sora meets his Heartless.
That's it! Sora, you're not the only one who changed, who evolved within the datascape.
Riku, you want to fill me in?
Yes, but listen to me carefully. I know where the bugs came from. All of them. It's your shadow. It's your Heartless, Sora.
My Heartless?
You once turned into a Heartless.
Riku goes on to explain that because Sora was destroying Heartless and bugs with the, quote, Keyblade, which wasn't a Keyblade, it was a mess of data, and because he turned into a Heartless, or at least the real Sora, not the data Sora, but because they're, headache. But anyways, the Heartless Sora has been feeding on all the Heartless that the data Sora was killing with his fake Keyblade and became a massive glitch. You see the problem with this? All the Star Trek movies and episodes combined don't contain enough technobabble, useless exposition BS as this 3-hour cutscene movie based on a 6-hour game. Oh, but it gets better. You see this entire story with Maleficent and Pete and debugging the journal and saving Riku and Mickey Mouse and Sora becoming friends and all this other BS that we've been sitting through the last 2.5, 3 hours just boring ourselves stupid is now completely pointless because after this is over, Sora gets neuralized. No, I'm not kidding. After everything's put back in place, Sora forgets the whole adventure ever happens. And then Mickey gets a message from Riku that he has now managed to debug that message that the game started with. Yeah, that's kind of forgotten in all this mess. So Mickey decides to enter the datascape one more time to find Sora, who's now forgotten the whole quest, so he can drag him through Castle Oblivion to find out what that message means. Now here's where the story does start becoming more important, but do you think we're going to take a break from the Kingdom Hearts over philosophizing and just being bored out of our minds? Think again.
Castle, and what they'll see are the worlds they call home. Anyway, the truth would be wasted on them, so why bother? They're only there until they're not. Do you see where I'm going with this? Nothing's real.
Everything is permissible. When did this start turning into Assassin's Creed all of a sudden? But anyways, in case you're wondering, Sora loses track of Mickey once he enters Castle Oblivion and gains this fellow as a companion. His hood never comes off, so we never really see his face, but he's passive-aggressive against Sora, wields the Oblivion and Oathkeeper Keyblades, and has a melancholy theme song on top of that. Gee, I wonder who it could be.
Wait a sec. Roxas?
The whole point in this Castle Oblivion arc is now that Sora's memories have been erased, he now must go through these worlds again and meet these people again and talk to them, and then right afterwards his memories of meeting these people will also be erased, leaving him feeling the pain of forgetting something that was precious to him and done multiple times. It turns out it's all a test by the person who put that mysterious entry in there in the first place. Naminé. She wanted to test Sora's heart because in Sora's heart there are memories that do not belong to him, and these memories are painful. They belong to Ventus and all the other people who have managed to find a home in Sora's heart. If Sora does not find a way to get rid of these memories and bring these people back, he will suffer a hell of a multiple personality syndrome breakdown. Okay, what's my problems with this? Okay, the finality where Mickey finds out that his friends are alive from birth by sleep and that Sora can help them is fine and all, but the entire idea here is flawed. Why? Well, first off, this isn't the real Sora. This isn't based off the real Sora. It's all based off of Jiminy Cricket's writing about Sora. Therefore, not the real Sora they're testing now, is it? Make matters worse, this is Sora that's fresh off the island, as Roxas puts it in one of the scenes, and therefore has had none of the experience the real Sora has up to this point. The real Sora at this point has had his best friend betray him several times, has forgotten his memories, have retained his memories, and battled against Organization 13. That has changed him quite a bit, some for the better, some for the worse. So this whole idea that she's able to test Sora and that he passes this way is BS. Like I said, and the information that's passed on about the whole birth by sleep and what happens next, that's all been covered again in Blank Points. We already know at the end of Blank Points that Sora has found out about his 3 predecessors and has decided that he needs to help them. This whole thing in Kingdom Hearts Recoded is nothing but a 3-hour waste of time. It only adds 1 or 2 new things to the plot, and most of them I think are pointless. Sora needing to rescue them because he has a personal stake in it doesn't really seem right. We've already seen that Sora is willing to stick his neck out to anyone he thinks is worthy of sticking his neck out for. He's not the type of guy who needs a personal reason to do it. Second thing that it does add is it adds in this book of prophecies, which is coming up in Kingdom Hearts X, all about that. However, I don't remember that being in the DS game, number 1, and number 2, it seems more like a cover to fill in a lot of the plot holes. Oh, well, it acted that way because it's a magic book. BS. Ugh. This entire game, this entire storyline is just a waste of time. And I just really, really hate it. Now, Kingdom Hearts Recoded for the Nintendo DS is not a terrible game. Don't get me wrong. If you played Inuyasha for the Nintendo DS, that's way worse. So it is worth getting if you're a die-hard Kingdom Hearts fan. Just don't expect anything other than a headache trying to figure out the story. However, putting that story into a movie just makes it suck. Yes, they managed to put in the action scenes and make sure there's no really big holes like in Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. However, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days could have made a really decent movie or anime. It had some interesting characters, had some interesting plot, and it focused on the character development. Here, it's nothing but technobabble and Kingdom Hearts philosophy without any fun. Kingdom Hearts Recoded Cinematic Cutscenes gets a
Load of both.
out of 5. Anyways, let's take a look at the rest of this collection real fast and do a recap. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix is not a really great RPG, but it's a pretty dang good one. It does have its flaws. The main game is a little bit too linear and button mashy, but the Final Mix content really fixes this, and you can really see how deep the battle system was supposed to be and really enjoy it and all of its nuances. It's really fun, and it's got a lot of added content to it, at least 30 or 40 extra hours if you want to clear everything, I would say. Then Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, which is the main course. This is the best game on the collection in my opinion. It's got a really good battle system that makes you think strategically, the ability to really mix and match abilities and form new power-ups. Makes this game real fun, and then the transformations. It's just a really great game and has a really enjoyable story. Unfortunately, Kingdom Hearts Recoded is the worst game of the collection and not a really great finale. As I've stated before, it's technobabble, convoluted BS that leads nowhere and adds nothing to the Kingdom Hearts storyline. But 2 out of 3 games isn't a bad score, and for being under $20 now, it's definitely worth a pickup. I give the collection as a whole a 4.7 out of 5. If you're a fan of action RPGs, go pick this game up. Anyways, I would like to thank you for watching this video. If you have a second, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do reviews, I do editorials, I also check out the Virtual Console once a week, as well as the PSN, and tell you about sales. I do a video about that once a week, and I would love to have you as part of my community, so feel free to click that subscribe button. Also, tomorrow I'm going to be doing a special video comparing the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep characters to their Star Wars counterparts. A lot of Kingdom Hearts fans do not want Star Wars as part of Kingdom Hearts 3. My thought on the subject is the whole reason why Disney bought out George Lucas was to stop the cease and desist orders. So join me tomorrow. I'd love to have you. This is Tommy the Keyblade Master signing out.